and I'm a software engineer at Tesla and holographic interfaces. I've also served as the software team lead for a Hyperloop company called rLoop. We built one of the first Hyperloop pods for the SpaceX Hyperloop competition. And at Tesla, I started our augmented and virtual reality group. And at Holographic Interfaces, we've built an augmented reality interface or dashboard for a remote operator that's operating a Hyperloop pod so they can see telemetry values such as pitch, roll, yaw, battery temp and charge, things like that. We also built, we designed and did the research for an electric supercar company that wanted to do AR on the windscreen of their vehicle. And currently, we're working on a project with a partner company of ours called Sitch AI, and we're building an augmented reality interface for first responders to locate and identify dangerous people in an active shooter situation. So the first responders will have the ability, essentially, to see through walls and to be able to locate this person indoor or outdoor. But I didn't start out here. I started out in a family that was very, very low income. We lived at times in hotels, in shelters, tents in the woods. And it made it very difficult to do well in school. And it made it difficult to maintain friendships. And finally, once I got to high school, I decided no matter where we move next, I'm going to stay here because I want to be in a place that has consistency. And so I did a little bit better with my grades, and eventually I went to college and got a business degree. And while I was in my business classes, I started a small company, but I needed a website to run that company, and I didn't know how to program. And as a broke college student, I couldn't find anybody who would be willing to build a website for me for pretty much free. So I taught myself how to build a website. From there, I found a great interest in building solutions to problems using software. And now I'm working with some pretty interesting projects and teams. But what I want to talk about today is how do we solve big, hard problems with new technology? I have "what the" there because new technology and solving hard problems is not easy. And it's like this. So you see this massive problem, and you want to figure out how to get to that point, how to get to the top of that when you just start out at the bottom. How did I get from where I started out in that type of family situation and inconsistency to the point that I am now? How did I solve those problems? So the thing with emerging technology is information on the internet to help you get started or move along through it and solve certain problems in the technology is very sparse. The information isn't there all the time. Even documentation that some of the professionals that are putting together this technology may not have come across some of the issues that you're facing when you're using new technologies. And so they haven't been able to know that they should put information in there for you. A lot of the times, people that are building software will go to a place called Stack Overflow or do other tutorials to find out, how to solve certain problems or how to get example code to make things a little bit faster in the production. But a lot of times with AI, augmented reality, virtual reality, things like that, some of the things aren't going to be available. And so you have to take what you do know and then kind of parse out the information that is available online and then match it to what you're looking to do. So solving problems is difficult. And the reason why is because we need to find out what problems are worth solving. And then we have to figure out how do we solve those problems that are worth solving. And to do that, we have to ask questions. We have to ask the right questions. And then we have to figure out, if I need to ask the right questions, what are those? How do you define what the correct question is? And then how do you ask that question in a way that you're going to get the answers you're looking for? Can I have maybe one or two examples of really, really big problems that might be interesting to solve? Yeah. Cancer, excellent, that's massive, yeah. Yep. Global warming, let's get one more. Oh, okay, yeah. You? Oh, poverty, yeah. Overpopulation, excellent. So we got like 4 or 5. That's because there are a lot of massive problems that we need to solve. Let me tell you that you can do it. Anybody in this room can solve any one of those problems. How do you start, though? It's very, very small. You start so small that it seems like it's a no-brainer in terms of how to come up with a solution. So you take this massive problem, like cancer or overpopulation, and you cut it in half. And then you take those problems and you cut those in half, and you cut that in half, and you cut it in half. You keep on going until you get to a point where the solution is turning on water or being at a certain place at a certain time. Those are things that we can accomplish very easily. From that point, you keep on doing these small, little, seemingly useless things to solve some problems, and you keep building up, and then finally you're solving some decently sized problems that you didn't think you had the ability to solve earlier. To keep the motivation, though, you have to stay curious. You have to surround yourself with information. If you want to go to the next level, you surround yourself with information, massive, massive amounts of information, and with people. They say that the place that you live, or the career that you get into, or the direction you go in life is typically the average of your 5 closest friends, or the 5 people that you are around most often. And so how do you surround yourself with the right people? And it's by reading books and listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, reading articles. You're surrounding yourself with people and information that are in the place that you want to be, that are solving the problems you want to solve, that are doing the things that you want to do in life. It's a process, and eventually you're going to start changing. Your mind will start changing, your point of view will start changing, your perspective will change, and you'll become ultimately a different person than you started out as. Sometimes it's not easy, but in the end, it's worth it. To take information that you've learned through all of your learning, like through all of your reading, through all of your videos and podcasts, and asking questions from people. You can ask questions from authors that you've read their books. You can ask questions from people that have done podcasts. You could message anybody you want to on LinkedIn, on any social media platform. The world is becoming so flat. So you ask questions from people so you find out more. And then to solidify these ideas, you teach. You go to your school and you talk to your friends about the things that you're learning. You go home and you talk to your family. You go to maybe some business that doesn't have the information that you have, because very few people are willing to put in the time and the energy and the effort to surround themselves with the right people and energy. The right people and information. You can start your own podcast, your own YouTube channel. The purpose of all of it is selfish. It's to learn by teaching. And the reason why teaching is so valuable for us to be able to learn something is because our brain has to take all these different pieces of information and then make sense of it in a way where we can help other people make sense of it. Time is on your side. Has anybody here heard of Dilbert, the comic strip? A couple people. Dilbert, the comic strip, is about the office workplace, and there's one person in there. His name is Dilbert, and he faces these different comical situations. But the man that created Dilbert, Scott Adams, he wrote a book called How to Fail at Almost Everything, and Still Win Big. And it's basically the story of his life and how he failed his way into success. And in this book, he says that every additional skill you learn doubles your odds of success. Time is on your side. Right now, time is like this and a timeline, right? Your life is a timeline. And so you started out here, and now you're right here, right? And you have a certain base knowledge of information in the world and things like that. And you have all of this time right here. You can do whatever you want with it, literally. And so you start off right here with this base of information, and you build it by surrounding yourself with people and information. And then you gain knowledge, and then that starts to build on itself. And knowledge is ever growing as long as you're giving it and feeding yourself the right stuff. And so it's growing and it's snowballing into this really, really big, massive, like incredibly beautiful thing that the earlier you start, the bigger it is and the better it is. And you're teaching people and you're learning and you're growing. And so the people that you're surrounding yourself with become more and more interesting and more interested in like what you're doing. And it's just an incredible path to be able to build up this snowball and like keep on getting more and more and more successful as you go along. So I want to ask you a question. Where are you going? What problems will you solve? What information are you going to surround yourself with? Thank you.